We've all been there, right? You make a New Year's resolution, you try to change a habit, and then, poof, you're right back where you started. Well, it turns out the secret to making a change stick isn't just about having more willpower. As we're about to see, the science actually points to a whole system of smart planning, designing your environment, and even getting a little help from your friends. So what can we learn from all this research to finally make those good habits last?
I mean, if you've ever tried to kickstart a new gym routine or maybe cut down on junk food, you know exactly what this uphill battle feels like. And man, it can be so frustrating. But what if I told you that feeling of failure, it's not actually your fault? It might just be that you're using the wrong strategy. And that right there is the crucial point. You know, for decades, researchers have been realizing that willpower isn't some kind of magic muscle you can just flex harder. The real key to habit change isn't about gritting your teeth and forcing it. It's about understanding the system you're working in and using a much smarter approach.
This really shows the core mistake that most of us make. We try to just stop a bad habit. We try to suppress it. But what the research shows is that habits aren't just erased from our brains. You can't just delete the file. They have to be overwritten. So the real goal here is strategic replacement, not just brute force suppression.
And this is the fundamental shift in how you have to think about it. Instead of pouring all your energy into not doing something, you redirect that same energy into building a new, better routine that can just slide right into its place. So the question is, how do we do that effectively? Okay, so this brings us to one of the most well-researched, heavy-hitting tools in the entire habit change toolkit. It's called implementation intentions. I know, it sounds super technical, but it's actually incredibly simple. You're basically just making a decision ahead of time using this simple if-then format. By linking a specific cue to a specific action, you take all the guesswork and decision-making out of the moment, which is usually when our goals go off the rails. And get this? The data shows just how powerful this simple trick is. Across hundreds of studies, these huge meta-analyses found a consistent effect size of 0.65. Now that number might not mean much to you, but trust me, in the world of social science, that is a seriously impressive and reliable result. This isn't just some nice idea. It's a proven method for turning what you want to do into what you actually do.
So you might be thinking, awesome, I'll just make a bunch of if-then plans and I'm good to go. But, you know, like with most things in life, it's a little more nuanced than that. The research starts to show some really important limitations here.
For example, there was this fascinating study that looked at changing snacking habits, and they found that for something complex like that, a classic plan like, if it's 3 p.m., then I'll eat an apple, just wasn't very effective. But you know what did work? Linking the plan to the reason, the motivational cue behind the habit. So a plan like, if I start to feel bored, then I'm going to take a 5-minute walk, that was way more successful. For these trickier habits, you have to understand why you're doing them, not just when or where.
And here's the other big catch. Research on breaking those really deeply ingrained habits, like smoking, found that the stronger the habit, the less effective a simple if-then plan becomes all on its own. For those super tough automatic behaviors, we're going to need to bring in some more firepower.
And that is the key question, isn't it? If one single, really powerful tool isn't always enough for our toughest challenges, what does the evidence tell us to do instead? Well, the answer isn't some new magic trick. It's a much more comprehensive approach. And this chart, wow, it really puts everything into perspective. See that little bar at the bottom? That's just getting information on why you should change. It's often the least effective thing you can do. Now, self-monitoring, tracking your behavior, that's a bit better. But look at that top bar. It's not even close. By far, the most successful approach is a multi-component one, where you combine several proven strategies into one big system. So what's in this ultimate toolkit? Well, it starts with that smart planning we've been talking about. Next up is tracking, or self-monitoring, which basically just keeps you aware and honest with yourself about your progress. Then you design your environment to make good choices almost automatic. And finally, you build in social support to keep you accountable. See how each piece reinforces the others? It creates this really powerful system for change.
I mean, just take that social support piece, for example. The research here is just stunningly clear. Studies show that simply adding an accountability partner, just someone you report your progress to, can literally double your chances of success. That is a massive return for such a simple addition to your strategy.
And this really gets to the heart of environmental design, or what behavioral scientists call choice architecture. Instead of fighting your environment all the time, you just shape it. You make the good choice the lazy choice. You want to eat healthier? Okay, put the fruit bowl right on the counter and hide the junk food in a cabinet that's hard to reach. It's all about reducing the friction for your good habits and adding friction for the bad ones.
Okay, and this brings us to what might be the most powerful idea of all. All these strategies, the planning, the tracking, the environment, they're all incredibly effective. But the real key to long-term, sustainable change is tying your habits to your identity. It's that shift from I'm trying to run more to I am a runner. When a behavior becomes a part of who you believe you are, the need for constant motivation and willpower just starts to fade away.
So the crucial takeaway from all this science is this. Lasting change isn't about some temporary, painful battle of wills. It's about building a smarter system for yourself and, ultimately, shifting how you see yourself. Because the most powerful question you can ask isn't, what do I want to do? It's, who do I want to become?